Like, he's just a cat.
Yeah.
So Tate, we were just talking about swimming.
Yes.
And how you wake up at 4:30 a.m.
Yeah.
And I cannot wrap my brain around that because that's like still nighttime for me.
Oh,
so you started doing that because you're a swimmer.
Yeah.
Back in high school?
Yeah, back in high school,
Okay.
I used to swim 2 mornings a week, and I got up even earlier for that. I used to wake up at 3:55 a.m. to go to those because I live out here in Saddle Creek, so I have to drive all the way to the Y. But you have to have all your stuff for the day. You got to have like your lunch, all your school stuff done, all your homework done, and then your stuff for afternoon practice as well. So I'd leave at 4:15 a.m. to make it to practice in time, and then I'm not coming home until 6. So, yeah, you kind of got in that routine. It was hard, but...
So 2 days a week. Mm-hmm. And then you still swim. You're in college.
Mm-hmm. I swim at Nova Southeastern University.
And how often do you swim?
In the mornings?
Yeah.
They're anywhere 4 to 5 mornings a week.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What's your stroke? What's that what it's called?
Sprint freestyle. Yeah. Strokes.
Sprint freestyle. So you're like the fast one.
Yeah, the fast and short races.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So why did you choose, or did your coaches choose for you?
I guess it was a little bit of both. Only about 10% of the swim population is a true sprinter. Like, they can actually genetically test for it, and I have been genetically tested for it in research studies. So
that is amazing.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. But when I was younger, I just was doing those races, and I started succeeding in those. So I was like, okay, and then started qualifying for the younger nationals and stuff. I was like, okay, this is more the direction. Also, those longer races make me super tired, and my parents are like, we don't really want to sit and watch you race for 5 minutes. Can you pick the shorter races?
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of fell into that. And there's actually more male sprinters than there are females, so I train with a lot of guys, so that's different. Oof. It makes me work harder, but yeah, then I can push them too. If they're going slow, I'll be like, oh, a girl's beating you now. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So you swam in high school for the Sharks.
Yes.
The Sarasota Sharks?
Sarasota Sharks, and then I also swam for Riverview High School.
Ooh, is that where you went?
Yeah, I went to Riverview.
Okay, sweet, that's where I went too.
Yeah.
So when and the Sarasota Sharks, those are the ones at the Y, the big pool.
Yeah, the YMCA, yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if people watching have seen that before. You guys swim this close.
Yeah.
How does that work with tempo and with that many people in the pool going for practice?
Yeah, it's definitely tricky. If we're swimming long course, there's a little more space because we're swimming a long way, so everybody gets their own pace going, kind of spaces out. But you learn to pace off of other people, and you learn to swim around people that you can pace with, or if they're faster or slower a certain day, or you'll know oh, somebody's injured, so I'm probably going to go ahead of them. It's difficult, but usually we do this thing. So you tap on their foot once to let them know, hey, I'm behind you. And so sometimes they'll pick up their speed oh, I'm going really slow, I should go faster. Yeah. Or if they don't, they'll kind of dive under and let you swim over them and then come back up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So and then there's a little...
Yeah. Yeah. And then the coaches, sometimes they'd be like, oh, you're letting so-and-so beat you. And then sometimes they'd make us swim a different stroke, swim butterfly until they caught up to you. And it's you're never going to catch up. I was like, I'm so tired.
I know. Okay. So butterfly, that's the thing. Anytime I talk to a swimmer, I'm like, do you know butterfly? And how long did it take you to get that down?
That was a long time.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I think I was actually better at it when I was younger than I am now.
Really?
But probably because I specialize now in just sprint freestyle.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, fly, that is something. I guess I learned it pretty young. I guess the story of how I started swimming is I hated the water when I was a baby.
Oh, really?
My mom could not get me to go to Mommy and Me swim lessons, and all her friends are like, oh, come to Mommy and Me swim lessons. My mom's like, I can barely get my kid to take a bath, so that's not going to happen. And then I started doing a little bit of YMCA swim lessons. Wasn't a strong swimmer. We used to have a lake house up in New York, and one day I just ran and jumped off the end of the dock, and I guess I got out, but then it was kind of the point. But I didn't join. I guess I made it out of the water.
You did.
Yeah. But I didn't really start competitively swimming till I was 7. And the only reason I joined a team was because my friend's like, if you join a team with me and we swim together, then we can have more sleepovers because we'll already be together and our parents will carpool and then we can just have sleepovers. And I was like, perfect. This is the plan. We're going to have sleepovers. It wasn't about the swimming. It was about the sleepovers.
Right.
And I'm actually the only one who stuck with it. The rest of them went on to play soccer and stuff like that in college. But then I stuck with it. Yeah.
So jumping off the dock, do you remember the mindset before that? Was there I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this? Or was it kind of after you jumped in, you're like, what did I just do?
I think it was a little bit of both because I saw some of my friends because we had friends at the lake and they were all swimming because we were the ones with the dock. So they'd all come over and they were swimming and stuff like that. And I could play at the water's edge a little bit, but that was pretty much it. And I saw them all out there and I was like, I saw some boys out there splashing around. And I was like, I can do that. I'm even though I'm a girl and I'm younger than them, I can do that. And so I ran and jumped off. And all I remember is getting in there and being like, you're in the water. It's over your head. Like,
yeah.
And like, thankfully I had friends there and I was able to like doggy paddle out, but I was just like, wait, what did you just do? It was like a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I would have never guessed that you wouldn't have liked water.
Oh, I
when you were
hated
younger.
it. Even like boats and stuff like that, I'd go sit inside like the little cubby and like hide in there with a blanket. And I'd be like, oh, I don't like this.
Ooh. So when did you know that you liked swimming? When was it like, this is clicking, this is something I should be doing?
I guess it was hard because I played a lot of sports growing up, and like it was more about the friends and the atmosphere. I think when I started to see like a little bit of that success, that's like, okay, well, if I work hard and do this, because before, like when I was younger, I didn't even know it was swimming. Like my mom's like, it looks like you're swimming like it's a day at the park. Like, do you realize when you race, you're supposed to try and win and go fast? And I was like, Mom, I'm just here with my friends. And she's like, okay, well, I mean, as long as you're having fun.
Right.
So when I started to see a little bit of success, start qualifying more for more of the higher up meets, or then I got to travel for like national meets and stuff like that. That's kind of when I was like, okay, this is the thing I'm going to focus on. This is what I'm going to pursue. And then especially moving down here to Florida, where swimming's a lot bigger than it is in New York, like that was kind of a clicking point for me, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah.
So you study marine biology.
I do.
In college. Okay. So that to me sounds so beautiful. What was it that made you pick that?
I've always been interested in the sciences, and it was definitely the biological sciences up in New York. But then I moved down here to Florida and took a class at Riverview with one of my professors there, and I took it and just fell in love with it. And like the fact that I could go to the beach and name all the shells on the beach, or like if we saw something, I'd be like, oh, this is what it's doing. That's why it's behaving like this, or something like that. I kind of fell in love with that. So, yeah.
So is it the creatures? Is it like... because at Riverview, I think, is it the class, like, do you guys go out and do stuff? So it's not just like sitting in the classroom, like it's more hands-on?
Yeah, so definitely they have the Aquadome there, which I actually didn't do a lot of my stuff in there. I did more classroom based, and then we did different field trips. So we went out in Sarasota Bay and got to go out there and like actually pull stuff off the bottom and be like, this is this and this is what it's doing. And I kind of fell in love with that. I got to the point where we'd go to the beach and my parents would be like, we're at the beach to relax. Don't tell, like they loved it. But now my dad, like he'll still like pick up a shell and be like, oh, this is what this is. I was like, yeah, I taught you that. But yeah, so definitely it's a hands-on learning experience. Yeah.
So what do you hope to do? I mean, you're in the education phase right now. What do you hope to do with marine biology after?
I definitely want to go into something with marine mammals. I'm currently actually doing a thesis project on marine mammals. I'm studying Peruvian seals and sea lions.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I actually look at their dentition, so their teeth, mostly their canines and their precanines. And I actually get those from a reserve down in Peru. And I cut those in half and I perform stable isotope analysis on them.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What is that?
So the teeth of the seals and sea lions grow like trees. They grow rings. So when you cut them in half, you can actually age how old the animal was and see like when it was born, time of death. And within each of those rings, you can perform like a stable isotope analysis. So that's like a chemical analysis to see what they were eating at that time. I'm specifically looking for oxygen content because from that, I can plug it into a formula and get sea surface temperature.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You can learn all of that from teeth.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Okay, I'm just like processing that their teeth grow like trees.
Yeah, that's really neat. Yeah.
That is crazy. So these are seals?
Yeah, seals and sea lions.
Okay. Have you done any work with dolphins?
Not really, but that's kind of what I want to go into my graduate work. I'm actually doing a thesis as an undergrad, which is a little rare, but why not? I like to jump into things and projects, and it kind of fell into my lap. So yeah, definitely I want to focus on the Florida mammals because I do want to stay in Florida.
Okay.
Post my master's degree. I don't know, people are pushing for my PhD. We'll see. But
Ooh, I was going to say, I feel like you can definitely accomplish that. You seem very like focused and...
Yeah, we'll see. But I definitely want to focus more on dolphins and manatees because I do want to have a job somewhere here in Florida and pursue that. So that's kind of my next phase. But yeah.
So what would a job look like? Is it, I mean, especially with dolphins, is it just kind of studying their behavior, or like what would that entail?
Yeah, so I don't want to do as much research necessarily in the lab. I mean, that's definitely a part of a lot of jobs that you would have, but I want to do more research in the field and do something more like a rescue team response.
Ooh.
Yeah, especially with red tide and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of what I'm leaning towards now, but we'll see.
Yeah. So with dolphins and other... like whales, dolphins are not in the whale family, right?
They are.
They are?
Yeah,
okay.
They're all cetaceans.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think about how people are kind of it's like becoming a little bit more common knowledge that they are very intelligent and very almost like the humans of the sea. That's kind of what I like to call them.
Yeah.
So going in and being able to study something like that.
Yeah.
What draws you to these like intelligent creatures of the ocean and like learning more about them?
I think the first thing is that we think we know a lot about them, but we really don't. The more that we study them, the more we realize that we don't know. So I think that the possibility of all the unknowns kind of draws me to it, but then definitely the conservation aspect of it, because if we can give them these human-like characteristics, even though they might not be human, their intelligence is something we can relate to, and bringing that to the general population and the public, to promote conservation and general education about what's going on in the world around us and how we can protect it. I think that's the major draw for me, though. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What would you say a big part that people can play in conservation? Like, what can people do that's like simple enough for everyone to be able to do?
Yeah, I think the first thing is being more aware of your surroundings, and definitely educating yourself. So there's enough things out there that you can read, articles and stuff like that, just to be aware of the problems and what's going on. I guess a big thing right now, especially in Florida, has been the plastics, and that's been a huge push, because I remember when the first idea of banning plastic straws first came to Florida, and now it's like happening all over. So it's kind of exciting to see over my time of like studying this, that something like a little change like that's actually happening. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just being more aware of your surroundings and what's going on, and having an open mind too, because I think a lot of times people try and draw like politics and different things into these problems when it's like, okay, they might be influencers, but here's the big problem and how do we approach it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man, I think with the ocean and people trying to learn more about it, because they say we know more about space than our own ocean. Is that true?
Yeah.
So if you could discover something or go somewhere or do something in that field, what would you do? Like, what are you looking forward to the most?
I don't know. I don't know. People are always like, what legacy would you want to leave in a field or something like that? I guess it would be something with conservation. Definitely along that path, especially here in Florida, and red tide, and realizing how much our actions living on the coastlines really impact it. Mm-hmm. Something with that, yeah.
Do humans cause red tide? What is red tide?
So red tides, it's a bloom of an algae, and the big thing, like especially last year, why we had the problem with it is the blue-green algae was getting pumped out from the river, and blue-green algae only survives in fresh water, so it was getting pumped out and it was dying once it reached the Gulf. But then that was providing food for red tide, because red tide always is in existence in like background concentrations and stuff like that, but it's usually more offshore. But once it had that food supply of the dead blue-green algae, that's what was feeding it, and then it was washing into our shores.
Ooh, so we did cause it? Because you said it was being pumped out?
Yeah, kind of in a sense. An excess load of nutrients and fertilizers and stuff like that. And I think there's a lot of factors. I mean, there's different things with climate and different things going on, but definitely realizing that, yes, humans do have an impact on it. Maybe not the sole impact. I think that's important.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do we get rid of love bugs?
I know. Maybe that should be my legacy.
I was going to say, if you want to work on something, work on that, please.
Yeah. Insects are not my favorite thing.
No.
Snakes and spiders. I took an invertebrates class last semester.
Really?
No, that was not my favorite.
We're also in Florida, which is like the place where everything can kill you.
I know, the snakes and stuff. I don't do snakes. I don't do spiders. There was a spider in my car the other day, and I was in traffic, and I was like, oh no. And I was like looking for the nearest place to pull off. And I was like, I was on speakerphone with somebody. I was like, I think I'm going to die. They're like, where is it? I was like in the back of my car. They're like, it's not going to get to the front of the car by then. But
you just imagine, you're like, anything touches you, you're like, it's there.
It's there. It already came to me.
You're in good company with Chris. He's like the most afraid of spiders of anybody I know.
Yeah, that's not a thing. I don't know. When I was younger, we learned to get the can of spider spray. You stand 20 feet back and you spray. You spray for 10 minutes and it's probably dead. That's the best bet.
Oh, man. Especially when it starts raining and like everything that crawls just goes into your house.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and being out in Saddle Creek.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you got bugs, you got snakes, you got everything out there. Yeah. But
have you ever had
bugs are just the worst.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so you work over in the other office where it's lit. I don't know what happened to the front door.
I don't know. It's
but
like gone.
Well, they're gone now. But like, there's so many. Do you have any idea why they're attracted to doors or like white cars? I've noticed, especially.
It's like the color white, I guess, that they're drawn to. And since that building's like kind of freestanding, like it's not there's not a lot of other buildings around it. That's my guess. I don't know, but I don't know why they have to go near the door.
I know. And then they had like,
it's like they know that we're like going in and out. It's like, I'm going to inhale you as I walk out
exactly. Or like ride on you.
Yeah.
For like, and they had a spray bottle outside of it that's for love bugs, but you had to reach through all the love bugs
like,
to get it.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
So you're back for the summer.
Yes.
And you're interning here.
Yes.
And you chose an area that I think certain people absolutely love because children, they're adorable. I've seen you interact with kids. You're amazing. And so there's that, like I feel like it's the younger kids. When you start getting to the middle school, you're like, Anita, you got this. Go over there.
The 1 week of middle school camp is enough for me.
Yeah, exactly.
I love them, but it's middle school.
So what is it about Suncoast Kids that, I mean, you could probably do whatever you want with your summertime, but you chose to be here to be an intern. So why?
I guess it's the family and the community here, and especially seeing the kids grow year to year. This is my 4th year interning with Suncoast Kids. I started volunteering here when I moved down here to Florida, and I was just volunteering. I was like, sure, I'll jump in with preschool. Like, I don't really know how it works. And actually now I'm more geared towards the elementary age. So 2nd, 3rd grade, 4th and 5th grade. And I think for me, especially the draw this summer is that I get to work with elementary age kids, and before it was preschool, and they do have some understanding and you are able to do curriculum and things like that with them. But now I can have a real conversation with the kids, and they're getting to the age where they want to question and they do want somebody to listen to them and they want to connect with them. Like I was just working with this one kid, and he swims now. And so he thought it was so cool that he could connect with me about swimming and stuff like that. So building those connections and seeing kids grow year to year. Sometimes I won't even recognize the kids when I come back, or it'll be like Christmas and I'm like, did you grow like a foot while I was gone or something like that? But yeah, I love Suncoast Kids and I love what they're doing, and being able to be a part of that and learn. I know it has nothing to do with my degree, but the amount that I learn each summer that I'm here is just amazing. Yeah.
Kids and dolphins are like
the same thing. I mean,
you're basically
the same.
With kids, especially when you can have conversations.
Yeah.
Was that something that you had to kind of learn as far as like what the developmental stages of kids are? Because I look at babies and I'm like, what do you know? But I look at other, like I look at I look at all the age groups and I'm like, what honestly, like what can they understand and what can they talk to you about?
Yeah, so actually I do have a minor, it's complete in psychology, and I took most of my classes in childhood development, because that was a big thing that actually a lot of marine biology majors need, is to have that psychology background as well, especially if you want to work with animals, to understand their behaviors. So I added that minor on because I had a lot of extra space in my schedule. I was like, sure, why not? But actually learning those classes in different stages of development, like, okay, they understand this, or even their concept of self, like, when do I know who I am? And like, how deep is that understanding? Like, taking those classes has definitely been beneficial to me, being able to apply it here. Yeah.
So what age group would you say is the beginning stage of I am a person? Like I have thoughts.
Yeah, it definitely starts in preschool. I think it also depends on their other influences. Like at home, do they have siblings and stuff like that, somebody they can look up to, or if they're like in a certain preschool program. It definitely starts in preschool, but I don't think that they really understand that they're like a unique individual and they can make choices for themselves until kindergarten and even going into 2nd and 3rd grade. But it's interesting because then they have unique thoughts and they have their own personal thoughts, like, well, I think this, or then especially when you get into 4th and 5th grade is when they start questioning things, which I think is amazing because it challenges me too, especially like if I'm teaching, like this past weekend I was teaching 4th and 5th and they have questions and I'm like, it's okay to say like, I don't know, I've never thought about that, but they like that. They like seeing that human side of their teacher or whoever's like leading them as well, that like, I thought of a question that she doesn't know the answer to, but that's okay. You know, we're growing and learning in this together. Yeah.
Did you have teachers that influenced you in school? I mean, you said that you had a teacher at Riverview.
Yeah. For sure. I'd actually say it was a lot of my elementary school teachers. When I was in school, I was like the last person in my grade to learn how to read.
Really?
Like I just would not read. Like I did not understand it. It wasn't for me. I was told, my mom was like, this is just not for me. And she's like, that's not an option. And I'd like cry every night. And we had to like bring the books home and read them. And I was like, this is the worst. But I eventually got it. Like I did like this. I worked with the summer tutor and she definitely influenced me. And then I had this one teacher in 5th grade and he really pushed me to work harder, to learn more, even if it meant going above and beyond what was being asked of me. And I think instilling that, like along with my mom saying, is I'm happy as long as you give your best effort. I think that's what's really pushed me in school. And then different teachers like, oh, well, you taught me science, so I like that. Or just, I'd say it's not necessarily content as much as work ethic that's been influenced me. Yeah.
Well, you have an amazing work ethic. I feel like your attitude is incredible. So what is it that I mean, you wake up at 4:30.
Yeah.
You swim, you lift,
Yeah.
you come here.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear so much good stuff from Lisa and Becky. They're just like, it is amazing to have, especially Tate here. I mean, like, she just gets stuff done and like all this. So what makes you do what you do? Like, what is your philosophy for, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to be focused, I'm going to wake up or sleep in when you want to? Like,
exactly.
You have your schedule. So what is it that you kind of draw from within yourself?
I definitely have a tenacious personality, so I'm going to pursue something till I get it done or figure it out or figure out the next direction I'm going to take something in. I think it was when I was younger, though, that my mom instilled in me that you'd give your best effort every day. Like, you get up and give that best effort, but sometimes like an effort's going to look different every day. Like, you know, you want to sleep in, or maybe that's better for you today. So I definitely would say that, but also making sure what you're doing, you're living in the moment and enjoying what you're doing, because I could look ahead at my day and be like, oh, I have to get up early, I have to do this, I have to do that. But if you're not really living in the moment, enjoying the certain thing that you're doing at that, then it just all becomes a blur. Because then the days go by so fast, or sometimes they feel slow because it's like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. But if you're really focused on living in the moment, and I think that also goes to time commitments too, and deciding like, I'll commit myself to doing this or something else, but as long as I'm not overcommitting myself so I don't have enough energy to spread out, because you don't want to spread yourself too thin, for sure. And there's definitely times I've had to pull back and be like, oh, I'm definitely overcommitting myself, or I'm too busy. But enjoying what you're doing in the moment and putting your best effort in at that moment, I think that's what kind of drives me.
Yeah. So what do you do on the hard days?
On the hard days, like at school?
Like when it's the day that is either feeling super long or you're running out of time because you're like, I didn't do all the things I need to do. What is it that you come back to? Because I feel like you probably don't beat yourself up too much. Yeah.
I mean, I can be hard on myself, but usually it's like, okay, well, what's being hard on myself going to do in this moment? How's that going to help me? Not really anything. I don't know. I guess I just have this natural positivity that I always draw back on, because it just makes me happy. Coffee is my big thing. I reward myself if I get up and go to practice. It's in the morning, as long as you get up and put your suit on right away, you're good to go, because it's like, well, I'm not going to get back in bed. I have a swimsuit on. I guess I should go to practice then. But I reward myself. I was like, you can have a cup of coffee when you drive there. So I look forward to my cups of coffee during the day, I guess.
Do you do just black coffee, or is there like something special that you put in there?
Usually I do coffee and almond milk, and then like a natural sweetener like stevia or something like that.
Delicious.
Yeah. But
have you tried Amity Brothers coffee?
I have. Yes. That's what we have at our church, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I drink it all the time then.
Very nice.
It's the best. It's better than the stuff my parents make at home. I know my mom's probably listening to this, but yeah, Mom, the coffee's not strong enough at home.
She's also not roasting it with love like Chris does.
That's it. That must be
every
it.
day.
Yeah.
Every single day.
For real though.
Yeah, there's something about when people do something every day, that's like a routine, right? And I think when people get into a routine, especially if you enjoy it, and it's difficult, so it's like this balance between, this is something that's hard that you wouldn't necessarily choose to do if you were seeking comfort, you know? So do you think that doing something uncomfortable is vital to you? Like, do you seek that out? Okay.
Definitely, yeah. I'm always willing to try new things. And even though I do have a routine, my days vary or stuff like that, or even doing this research, I've had to teach myself a lot of how to use some of the lab equipment or how to do certain things. And I'm like, I don't know how to do this. How am I going to get through today? But I think it definitely helps me grow as a person. And I think that I would get stagnant in my routine, and I would kind of get bored with it if I wasn't pushing myself and trying something new. Yeah.
What's the newest thing that you've incorporated?
I don't know. Well, because it's summer, so I'm kind of like relaxing and stuff like that.
Relaxing by waking up at 4:30.
I mean, you know, recently at home, though, I've gotten into juicing.
Ooh.
Like juicing vegetables and stuff like that. Yeah, because we're like trying to eat healthier at home, and we have this juicer, and we've had it for like a year and a half, but nobody's touched it. Like, it looked like it was a scary thing to open out of the box, and then we're like, then we actually have to use it. But it's actually been amazing. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't think that putting like spinach and carrots and apples together, it makes the most wonderful juice ever. I thought it was going to be nasty, or it's like you're choking down a juice. Right. No, it was so good.
So what is your go-to recipe?
Probably that one. If I'm looking for a green drink, it'd be like carrots and apples, which you use the apples and the carrots as a sweetener. So you put that in as your base first, and then you add the green like spinach later. That's probably my go-to recipe for a green one. For like a fruitier one, I would use the same spinach and maybe apple base and the apple to sweeten it, but then I add like blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries to that to get the antioxidants. Yeah.
Have you ever tried beets?
Okay, somebody gave me beet juice once and I took a sip and I was like, this isn't for me.
It looks cool.
Yeah, it looks cool, and I'm like, oh, it's like really like the nutrients and stuff.
Chris
and
literally put that in the chat right before you asked that question.
Are you serious?
About beets. Yeah.
Because I tried. Okay, so maybe Chris could help you with beets because he made one. It was beets, apple, carrot. What else? Cucumber, ginger.
So beets, apple, carrots, ginger, sea salt, and
Sea salt.
Sea salt. So it was like
That's weird.
really, really purple, like a beautiful
Yeah.
purple. And because beets have an earthy flavor.
Yeah, they
and
do.
when it's just beets, you're kind of like, what is happening right now? What is this flavor? But coupled
The
with
flavor is dirt. That's what you're looking
The
for.
dirt.
kind of is, yes. It's like a dirty radish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he made one that was really,
Yeah.
really good. I don't know if you still have any left, Chris. You don't? Okay. The next time he does, I'm going to be like, save a
Say
sip
so.
for Tate.
Yeah.
For Tate. Because you may, but you may also not like it. And
but as long maybe that there's other stuff masking it wouldn't be as bad, because the thing I tried was solely just beet juice, and I was they're like giving it out in the university center. They're like, here, try this, it's so healthy. And I was like, I'm really not a fan of beets. And they're like, oh, try it. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll try it. Like, nobody else is out here trying your beet juice. I will try it for you. And I tried it, and I was like, I didn't want them to feel bad, so I was like, oh, it's so good, but I've got to run to class. And then I found the nearest trash can and threw it out. And I was like, and then I looked and there was like 5 other cups of the juice in there. And I was like, oh no, they must not like it. And I know they're trying to like push the healthy stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, sure, I'll do it. But
that's you trying new things and being like,
yeah, I'm okay to try something and be like, it's not for me. Or,
Right.
But
So what is the draw for healthier at home? Because that's something that I feel like a lot of people do.
yeah.
They try for a moment and then they're
Yeah.
like, this is difficult.
Yeah. Well, I guess I grew up eating healthy pretty much. We'd get the organic stuff, or my mom has a little bit of a gluten insensitivity, and I think like that's genetic too. So like I feel it too. I just feel better when I don't eat as much gluten, but like, I mean, I love pastries. I love going to Panera. So, it's all about balance. But eating it healthy at home is something we grew up with, and then my sister and I move away for school and have our own apartments, and that's something we both kind of do there. And so I guess moving back home and then like living as a family for the summer, like that's something we're pushing, and like we love going to Detweiler's and getting the fresh vegetables and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, like everybody just generally feels better. Also, it's about balance. I mean, like, you got to enjoy your treats and stuff like that too.
Right.
I don't know, it was like 10 o'clock last night. I was craving brownies, got up and made a pan of brownies, ate like half the pan, but
If
it's
you
about
make
balance.
them, I feel like it's it's a little healthier.
Yeah, it's a little healthier. I mean, I did eat a lot of the batter before, and then I was like mostly full, and I was like, well, I don't even need the pan of brownies now.
Yeah.
But,
You did that at 10 p.m. and then woke up at 4.
Yeah, but I did get back in bed, so maybe it was the brownies.
Yes. So we were just talking about brownies yesterday, and the most enticing brownie. So there was people had different opinions. So the darker, this is kind of the consensus though, the darker the brownie and the like flakier looking the top, the better. Do you agree or disagree?
Oh, I agree, because if it's darker, then I feel like it's either made with darker chocolate or it's not fully cooked. But if you let it sit, then it gets like this fudgy kind of flavor.
Yes.
So I always undercook the brownies, because then if you let them sit, it gets like this fudgy flavor that it's like not fully cooked, but safe enough to eat,
Oh yeah.
just safe enough to eat.
Okay, so I feel like I forgot the word. Is it
Synesthesia.
Synesthesia.
Yeah.
Okay. I did not know what that was. Did you guys know do you guys know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm so excited. Yes, Chris. Okay, you ready for this? So that means you attribute every word, number, day of the week, all of those things with a color.
Yeah, so letter. So basically synesthesia is...
And letters?
Yeah, so
Okay.
the Greek meaning of the word is like together sensation. So when I have a sensation, like I hear a word or something like that, I associate usually with like a color. So mine is like hearing and vision, but some people have it with like smells and other things that they associate two senses together.
Okay.
So when I hear like a day of the week or a number or a word or anything like that, I associate it with a color. Yeah.
And this is genetic.
It's genetic, yeah. So I have it, my sister has it, and my mom has it. My dad doesn't have it, but I thought he was just like, we're kind of an artsy family. So I was like, he's just not artsy. He's a pilot. He just does the routine stuff. And I was like, this isn't not him. But
Right.
yeah, and I actually didn't know I had it until I I was in high school. I was taking a theory of knowledge class, and we're like reading our textbook, and somebody's reading out loud about it, and I was like, this is a thing. I like raised my hand, like I was like, I don't know if I should ask, and I was like, I think everybody does this, no? And then everybody's like, what? Yeah.
Did you become like everyone just turns like, what else can you do?
Yeah, no, yeah, for like 2 weeks in the hallways, people would be like, what color is my birthday and stuff like that. And I was like, do you realize it's not the same for everybody with synesthesia?
Yeah.
Because like I was actually reading more about it, and like it's only 3 to 5% of the population that has this, and it's like spread through families, but there's like 60 to 80 different subtypes, they think.
Whoa.
Yeah, of different things. Like, so especially in my family, it's mostly like days of the week, numbers, colors, but my sister doesn't have it as strong as my mom and I have it. So it's kind of interesting, but our colors, none of our colors are the same. Because some people think, they're like, oh, well, maybe it has to do with like those magnet letters and stuff that you have on the fridge. And I was like, well, one, I wasn't allowed to put magnets on the fridge when I was little, so it's not that. But my sister and I grew up with like the same learning tools or the same little calendars, and we don't have the same colors.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe the name for the color is different than what the actual color is in your mind.
Oh.
Okay, that is something that this like broke my brain the first time that Ryan asked this.
Yeah.
But what if, so like your yellow, his yellow, my yellow, Chris's yellow.
Yeah.
Like to us, obviously, we'd look and be like, oh, that thing's yellow.
Yeah.
But then it's all different. Like it wouldn't actually be the color
Oh, yeah.
yellow. I wonder if that is a thing. Like
I
if
don't know.
That's why people have different favorite colors. That's the only thing
That's
that makes
true.
sense.
That is very
But,
true.
okay.
Because yellow is a terrible color.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to try something because this was so
Yeah.
fun. Does it annoy you when people are like, what is this? What is this?
No, I kind of got used to it because I was like, people would be like, fun fact. And I was like, if I'm doing something, especially with my sister, I was like, it has to be a fun fact she doesn't know or stuff like that. Or like doing close friends, I was like, what is something they don't know about me?
Yeah.
And like sharing it, it's like, I don't realize we don't talk about it a lot at home because we just, something
You just
normal.
do it,
Like,
yeah.
I don't know how normal people are. Like, some people are like, do you see the word, like when you read the word Monday in black font, is it purple? And I'm like, no, it's just, I see purple in my head.
Right.
I have that was kind of the question. Where do you see this color?
Just in my head. It's
Is it
like an
just like-
association. Yeah.
Like almost just like a cloud of color?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because Chris is the newest person who learned this, what do you see with Chris, with the name Chris?
Chris, it's like a blue color, kind of like a sky blue, but a little bit darker. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Did you just say
Better than
that's your-
yellow. Just don't tell me if I'm yellow, please.
So what I'm curious about what color you associate with dolphin.
With dolphin, it's definitely a blue color, but it's a little bit lighter. And so some things, like definitely, it's like, oh, you think, oh, well, they live in the ocean. That kind of makes sense. Or
Right.
that they do kind of take a little bit of a blue tint when they're in the water. Like some things make sense, and other things I can't explain at all. I'm like, I don't know.
What's the weirdest association to you that you're like, why do I think of this with this word or number?
I don't know. I was talking about it with my mom last night. I don't know, because to me it's just normal. So I
Right.
wouldn't like think it's weird, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, but like another interesting thing too is we actually associate shapes and stuff like that with days of the week and months and stuff like that.
Whoa.
And they're like different.
Yeah.
Yes.
So different with all
Like-
three of you guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the way we lay them out and stuff like that in our head. Like mine are long, narrow rectangles for days, and my mom sees them as squares or something like that.
Yeah.
And nobody's like seeing them as like circles or triangles. That'd be kind of weird. But
Can
Yeah.
you draw? Are you good at visualizing things?
yeah, I'm a visual learner, and my mom's an artist, and I think I'm good at art. I honestly failed the AP art exam. I don't know
What?
why. I thought I did well. I sold one of my pieces of art for $100, and then they're like, no. And I was like, maybe you just don't understand my brain and
Yeah.
how
It's
it
Just the
works.
man trying to bring you down.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, art. I think
What kind of exam can you
Yeah,
do for
I was like,
art?
supposed to
Come
be
on.
when you're
No.
graded and you can fail, I just
Yeah.
feel like that's crazy.
I thought my mom was joking when she told me to, because my teacher had like told her, she's like, oh, by the way, your daughter got like a 2 on the AP exam, and like my art was good, and that's why they were all shocked. They're like,
Right.
she sold artwork and stuff like that before.
What are they
like,
grading it on?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Where do they get their
Was the teacher
standard?
just jealous, maybe?
I don't know. They like ship your artwork off to somewhere else, and I was like, well, maybe they don't understand like my themes. They're like Florida
Yeah.
themes and stuff like that. And when my mom told me, and I started laughing, I was like, ha ha ha. I was like, what did I really get? She's like, no, you actually failed. And I was like, what? Because my mom's fooled me before.
Right.
On April Fool's Day, once she sent me fake SAT scores.
Oh no.
Yep.
I
Yep.
love how your mom is the one doing that.
Oh yeah.
I need to have your mom on here.
Yeah.
Clear a few things up.
Yeah, no, she's like can do graphic design and stuff like that, the whole artsy side of her. So she went online and found like the whole layout of it, because I was supposed to get my exam on my scores on the 2nd. It's April Fool's Day, and I'm a little bit of a prankster myself. I love fooling people. I love doing it at home. And so I guess it was finally my year for payback. And I got home and it was in the mailbox. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, because it was like the first time I took the SAT.
So she like put it in the mailbox.
It's elaborate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She even like made the envelope look like it had been through the mail, so it like had the stamping and stuff like that on it. It was intense. And I went in my room and like could tell something was a little off, but I thought maybe they were just excited to see my scores or something like that. I think it was the second time I took the exam, so I really like wanted to boost my scores for college. Like I was fine, but I wanted to see if I could do better. And I opened it and it's like the score that you get if you write your name on the exam. Like what they give you. Like I wrote my name on the exam, the bare minimum. I was like, oh no. My mom's like, what's the matter, Tate? And I was like, I'm just gonna go sit in my room. And I was like,
oh, no.
maybe I'm reading this wrong.
Yeah.
And I was like, how? I know I didn't do that bad.
Right.
And they
Was
were
she
just
just like
dying laughing. And my mom's like, well, it's okay. And she like played along so well. My sister's just sitting in my bed videoing the whole thing. I didn't realize
no.
it. Yeah, it was so funny though. Like I deserved it, but
We
it
need
was
that
funny.
video.
Okay,
Yes.
wait. You just said you deserved it. So I want to know what you did to deserve it. What are
don't
your
know.
pranks?
I used to do pranks, especially my sister. I mean, that's sibling rivalry
Right.
and stuff like that. I don't know. My sister and I used to pack like funny things in each other's lunchbox, and I still find some of them around my house.
Really?
Like sometimes, like it'd be like you're in high school and you'd go find like an old Barbie doll and pack it in like their lunchbox. So you're unpacking your lunch and like a Barbie doll comes out or something like that. Or we had like this little like toy tractor and I'd like pack it in her stuff. Things like that where they'd like, or I'd like pack her backpack with like kitchen utensils, and so she'd get to school and like start pulling out her stuff. Or I think
Just spatula.
yeah. Or what was it? That wasn't that year, but one year I went in around April Fool's Day. I wasn't trying to pull a prank, but I like parked in the wrong parking at Riverview after I graduated. It was like a year later, and I was going to pick up my diploma, and they're like, where have you been? It's been a year. And I was like, well, I haven't been here. Like, I'm sorry, I'm coming to pick it up. But like I parked in like this illegal spot or something.
Uh-oh.
And so they looked up the license and it was like listed under my dad's name. And so they assumed it was my sister, and they like called her out of class and everything. And she got like super scared because they like called her down to the office and whatnot.
So like an accidental
And then she,
prank.
yeah, then she like ran into me and she's like, what are you doing here? I was like, I'm getting my diploma. And then I was like, she's like, my car's in the student parking lot. And I was like, oh. So it's just little things like that. Or when I was little, we used to share a room, and it was like kind of an upstairs loft. So if the lights were turned off and you hit around the corner, I used to love to jump out and scare her.
Ooh.
Yeah, she didn't like it. And she's like, Tate, I honestly think you were more scared that I came around the corner than you were scaring me. But just little things like that. Yeah. Or like, you know, when like you turn on the sink and the water, like if you have the sprayer, if you put like a rubber band around it and then it sprays them. Yeah.
Those are good. Those are like enough to where you don't have to be like waiting around for it to happen, because you know whenever they do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I scare Ryan. I'm so bad though. I'll do the thing
You
where
did last night.
but you saw me, because I feel
Still
really,
scary.
really bad when I actually do scare him, because I'll crouch down and just wait for him to come around the corner and just see a crouched thing in the dark.
Yeah, just like
I try not to like scream or anything,
Yeah.
but I feel really bad. I actually get him every time.
Yeah, because you know, walking through the dark into the night. That's not.
Right, not expecting that.
Not really thinking my wife's going to be hiding in the corner to terrify me.
But then it makes me laugh so hard, so it's kind of worth it. You get scared, I get a laugh.
Yeah, usually that's the thing though, is I'm so bad with that stuff. I just start laughing before it even happens. And my sister's like, what? Like I'll do something like mess with her phone, or a funny one with my parents though, or especially with my dad. I changed all the words in his phone. Like, you know, if you type one word, it changes automatically to the other thing. I did that for the longest time, and I put in like these funny family jokes that like every time you type the word the, like a funny family joke would come up instead. And he was like texting me, and he's like, and then he like called me. He's like, I don't know what's wrong with my phone, but I played that one off pretty good. But then it took a while to go back and change everything back. But yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
You've had all your contacts changed to like Santa.
Yeah, my buddy.
Ah.
Buddy. It was a thing. He would steal people's phones. So this is back in like the StarTAC days. I don't know if you guys even remember that.
StarTAC?
Yeah. You know, the StarTAC phone.
You mean Star Trek?
No, the phone, the StarTAC phone.
No.
Anyway, flip phones.
Okay.
And he would change all the contacts to Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
Like all of them. So anytime somebody would call you, this was before texting too, they'd call you, you'd have to say, I'm sorry, who is this?
Who is this?
It's Mom.
Somebody changed all my contacts to Santa
It
because
says it's Santa
we're
Claus.
5.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of the show, we like to go through comments.
There's a lot. You have some fans, Tate.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot. Too much to read, honestly.
Well, what's nice is once we post these, you can actually go, and when you watch this back, you can see the comments live, like as they went up.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah.
So there's too many?
Too many to read. Good
Okay.
things. You can go and read them.
Okay, I will.
No major questions or
No
anything
major
like
questions.
Okay, perfect. Well, this has been a great coffee talk.
Yes,
Thank you,
this has
Tate.
been awesome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, well, thanks for listening and watching, everybody.
All right, we're out.
Goodbye. Nice.